At 11:47 p.m. on a cold March night in 1944, three young French women were chained under a single bulb in a basement in Lyon. Imagine this, three girls, ages 17, 19, and 21, arrested in Lyon. They think today is the day they die. In front of them stands a Gestapo officer, a pistol in one hand, a bottle of cognac on the table. They have no idea that the man who should be their executioner might be their only chance at survival. March 1944.
Lyon, France.
The city is under the heavy hand of Nazi occupation. Patrols on every corner, sudden raids, arrests without warning. Three young French resistance couriers are taken into custody just 6 hours ago. They are 17, 19, and 21 years old. In their possession, forged papers, coded messages. Not enough to save them, just enough to mark them for death. Normally, the procedure is simple. Spend the night in the holding cells, interrogation begins in the morning, followed by imprisonment or worse. But tonight, things will be different. Klaus Barbie, the SS officer known as the Butcher of Lyon, opens the basement door. Before him, three girls sit handcuffed, terror etched into their faces. And then he does something unexpected. He dismisses the guard, places a pistol on the table, and pours himself a glass of cognac. "I will ask you questions," he says in perfect French. "Answer wrong. There will be consequences." Barbie starts with an unusual question. "How many people are in your family?" This isn't a normal Gestapo interrogation. Typically, the questions would be about resistance networks, weapons caches, or safe houses. Now, it's about families, innocent details that might be deadly. 17-year-old Marie Dubois, controlling the tremor in her voice, answers, "My father is dead. My mother lives with my two younger brothers, 12 and 9 years old." Barbie nods as if measuring each word. He turns to the second girl, 19-year-old Sophie Lyon. Her voice shakes. "My parents and my younger sister," she is 14. The eldest, 21-year-old Jacqueline Morrow, refuses to speak. She's been with the resistance longer than the others. She knows the price of information. Any detail could lead to her family's arrest. Barbie doesn't push. Instead, he pulls three chairs from the corner, arranges them, and begins telling a story that seems impossible. A night in Berlin, November 1938, Kristallnacht. He talks about his mother, a Jew who he saved using forged documents and connections. The girls look at him with confusion and disbelief. SS officers don't tell stories like this. They kill. Barbie shows them a photo. His mother, alive in Switzerland. "I saved 23 people before you," he says. "I can help your families if you help me save others." Marie hesitates, then speaks. "My mother and brothers are hiding on Rue de la République. If I am arrested, they will be discovered and deported." Barbie writes the address in a small notebook. Sophie and Jacqueline do the same. In that moment, the basement transforms. Fear mixes with a fragile hope. Trust forms where it should be impossible. You think you know who your enemy is, but sometimes the man in the uniform holding a gun can be the only one standing between you and death. For Marie, Sophie, and Jacqueline, that night would prove exactly that. The basement is quiet except for the ticking of a clock and the nervous breathing of the prisoners. Barbie leans back, calm, methodical. He does not interrogate them about resistance networks, not yet. Instead, he asks for information that could save lives. Jews in hiding, children at risk, families who would be deported tomorrow if no one acted. For 6 hours, the three girls speak cautiously at first. Names, addresses, safe houses. One by one, they share information about people who cannot protect themselves, people whose survival depends entirely on someone else taking action, on someone like Barbie. Each revelation is a gamble. The girls know this could be a trap. One wrong move, one hint of suspicion, and they'll die instantly. Yet, they speak because they see the faintest glimmer of hope. Barbie is risking everything by staying there with them, by asking for their trust. By 4 a.m., he has a list of 17 names and locations. Families who would otherwise face deportation or death. Children in convents, parents hiding in apartments, resistance couriers moving through the city. Every name written in his notebook is a life he now carries the responsibility to protect. Barbie's mind is working faster than anyone could imagine. He plans. The girls will survive the night, the report he submits will downplay their value to the Gestapo, and the warning calls must be made to ensure the people on the list are moved before a raid. Precision. Timing. One slip and the entire network could be destroyed. Marie, voice still shaking, asks the question every prisoner dreams of asking. Why? Why are you doing this?
Barbie pose.
He leans in, whispering, almost to himself, almost to them. My mother. I saved her during Kristallnacht. I learned that the regime does not care for loyalty, only for ideology. I will use what power I have to save others, quietly, carefully, because I can. The girls exchange glances, the tension slowly transforming into a fragile trust. They know it is now or never. They provide the remaining addresses. Sophie's 14-year-old sister at their uncle's farm outside Lyon, Jacqueline's information about 6 Jewish children hidden in a convent school on Avenue Foch. A raid is planned for March 21st. Without warning, they will all be swept into Gestapo custody. Barbie nods, writes it down, memorizes it, and begins a mental checklist. Which families to warn first, who to move, who can survive a day longer, who must act immediately. Every second counts. By 6 a.m., he leaves the basement. The girls are unharmed. He files the official interrogation report. The 3 prisoners are minor couriers, low-value targets. The Gestapo buys it. By 9 a.m., Marie, Sophie, and Jacqueline are loaded onto a transport to a work camp in Germany. Harsh, brutal, but survivable. Barbie knows they will live and their families will live. That night, under the cover of darkness, Barbie makes anonymous calls, passes coded messages to resistance contacts. He gives instructions on how to move children and adults to safe locations. The 6 children in the convent are evacuated. Families are moved to safe apartments or given forged papers. Every move is precise, every step calculated. Imagine standing in a Gestapo basement, your life hanging by a thread, knowing that the wrong word could mean death. Not just for you, but for dozens of innocent people. That was the reality for Marie, Sophie, Jacqueline, and the man who could either kill them or save them all. Barbie sits at his small desk in his Lyon office, the morning sunlight filtering through slats in the blinds. His SS uniform is pristine, the outward symbol of loyalty to the regime. Inside, however, his mind is racing, calculating every move that must be made to save the 17 lives he now knows are in imminent danger. He picks up the telephone, speaking in cautious, clipped tones. The voice on the other end, a trusted contact in the French resistance, barely recognizes the code words. Within minutes, instructions are sent, safe houses alerted, and the children at the convent prepared for evacuation. Every word must be measured. Any slip could expose him as a double agent. Meanwhile, the girls are still in transit. Their fear is palpable. Marie, her hands clenched tightly around the seat, whispers to Sophie, "Do you think he'll keep his word?" Sophie shakes her head, not sure whether to hope or brace for betrayal. Jacqueline remains silent, her eyes scanning the shadows outside, calculating, suspicious. Back in the city, Barbie is orchestrating the impossible. He tracks patrols, Gestapo schedules, and the movements of every informant he's warned to watch. Using falsified documents, he moves families into temporary safe apartments, guides children out of danger, and coordinates with resistance couriers to avoid Gestapo checkpoints. Each decision carries lethal consequences if he is caught. By midday, several lives are already saved. A mother and her 2 children, previously on a deportation list, are moved to a safe house under a false identity. A teenage courier is redirected from a Gestapo stakeout and given papers identifying him as a civilian worker. Every success is quiet, invisible, but vital. Each one fuels Barbie's resolve. But the danger is relentless. Gestapo officers patrol Lyon with precision. One slip, one witness seeing a child vanish, one clerical error, and the entire operation could collapse. Barbie moves carefully, knowing that any deviation could expose not just him but the resistance network he is secretly protecting. Late afternoon brings new intelligence. A tip arrives. A group of children at a convent on Avenue Foch is in imminent danger. A raid is scheduled for March 21st. Barbie knows time is critical. He must move fast. Using forged documents, diversion tactics, and carefully timed messages to couriers, he orchestrates the evacuation. Children are moved in pairs, cloaked under heavy coats and hidden in carts, through narrow streets. Every step is tense. Guards watch. Neighbors whisper. Any mistake could be fatal. By the evening, all 17 people from his original list have been relocated to safe locations, out of immediate reach of the Gestapo. The girls, now free from immediate danger, begin to understand the magnitude of what has just occurred. Marie whispers, voice trembling. "He saved us, and so many others. How is that possible?" Barbie does not celebrate. To him, it is simply the minimum required. Lives saved today are temporary victories in a war that has claimed millions. Yet, for those he has saved, this man in the black uniform is nothing short of a miracle. Imagine doing everything possible to save lives, yet knowing that your actions could never undo the millions of deaths around you. That was Klaus Barbie's paradox, the SS officer who became a secret savior. The night of March 19th into March 20th fades into a tense dawn. Lyon is still under occupation. Gestapo patrols vigilant, streets silent, but inside hidden apartments, lives are quietly beginning again. Families that would have been arrested, deported, or worse now sleep safely, unaware of how narrowly they escaped. The children from the convent are being moved under careful watch, their small hands held by couriers who risk everything with every step. Back in his office, Barbie continues to work. He writes the official interrogation reports, portraying the three captured women, Marie, Sophie, Jacqueline, as minor couriers with no actionable intelligence. He recommends their immediate transfer to a labor camp in Germany, a brutal assignment but survivable. He knows this will satisfy his superiors, buying him time to protect more lives. Meanwhile, the three women are already on a transport train, each minute bringing them further from the immediate threat. Marie clutches the photograph of Barbie's mother he had shown her the night before, the tangible proof that not all SS officers were monsters. Sophie and Jacqueline exchange quiet words, realizing the depth of what has happened. Trust, forged under duress, has become a lifeline. By March 21st, the Gestapo arrives at the convent on Avenue Foch, expecting a raid. Instead, they find empty classrooms, locked doors, and silence. The children are already gone. Every risk Barbie took, the forged papers, the diverted patrols, the anonymous calls warning the resistance network, has paid off. The lives that were minutes from destruction are now safe, hidden in plain sight across Lyon. In the months that follow, Barbie continues his double life. By day, a loyal SS officer. By night, a clandestine savior. Each act of rescue is methodical, precise, and dangerous. Between 1938 and 1944, he helps at least 63 people avoid arrest, deportation, or death. Mothers, children, resistance fighters, all survive because of one man's carefully calculated subversion of the machinery of terror. Yet the paradox remains. Millions are still dying. For every life he saves, countless others cannot be reached. Barbie does not claim heroism. He does not celebrate. To him, it is simple logic. With the position he has, the resources he controls, he can mitigate some suffering. That is all. Years later, the legal consequences come. Survivors testify. Marie, now a young mother in Jerusalem, recounts the night of March 19th. The fear, the basement, the photograph, the bargain that saved her family. Sophie testifies about her sister. Jacqueline, though she perished before liberation, leaves behind the stories of children and families saved. Their voices shape the historical record. The tribunal faces a moral dilemma. Barbie is undeniably complicit in SS operations, but he is also responsible for dozens of documented rescues. After careful consideration, the court commutes his sentence based on the lives he saved. He is released in 1951 and disappears into Switzerland, never speaking publicly about his wartime activities. Can a man who committed horrible crimes also be responsible for saving lives? Can good ever come from someone who served evil?